are going to talk about land use in Kasese district. And as far as, because we've had so many issues coming from Kasese where there's been a land conflict. But interesting statistics also from Kasese, that Kasese has one of the highest numbers of population increase, close to 5,000 people in a year from here, in the whole country. But they have things like the mountains, the parks. How do they utilize land in the face where the population is increasing, but and they have the land is not expanding?
And most of the land is gazetted. There's a park, there are industries. So you have little land, but then the population keeps increasing. So we are like coming to ask, how are you doing it? How do you balance? How do you still manage with that land that doesn't increase with an increasing population?
There are areas where people are so much concentrated, and at the end of the day, there is a situation where people own small plots of land, and even when people own small plots of land, they are fragmented. There are other areas where there are less people. The population there is scattered. Now, in those particular areas, there are conflicts related to land or resulting from the allocation of land. And when these people on the hill areas want to come down to come and take some land for cultivation or get some land for cultivation, then the few who are there do not give them chance. Such that at the end of the day, we have areas where people are so many. We have some other areas where there is breathing space. Now, at the end of the day, these people who are living on small plots of land obviously are getting it rough to get what to survive on.
How do the people here use land in as far as agriculture is concerned? Because we also see your mineral resources are the main. Are you earning anything from agriculture?
Yeah.
Is the land still fertile?
Of course, as a Ugandan and as a farmer on a small scale, yeah, as you've said, yes, Kasese, we are living in a corridor. There is a national park up, that's Mount Rwenzori National Park. We have Queen Elizabeth National Park. So in Kasese, we are living in a corridor, but we are promoting kitchen gardening. Kitchen gardening doesn't need a very big plot of land. It just needs just a technology to apply in the land. You can use a sack as a garden. We call it portable gardens. You use it as a sack, you put soil. Of course, you put in those agronomical practices to plant your vegetables.
And most of the people using those methods, because you're talking about sacks. What's the most remote area in Kasese?
Actually, that method is being used in the mountains, where these people are staying on these hill areas, and there's nowhere someone can dig to cultivate, for example, vegetables. So we are encouraging those living in the hill areas. We are promoting these portable gardens, so that if you have, let me say, a veranda, you utilize that veranda to cultivate your vegetables.
Let's take a look at Alex Katikiro, who is a district lands officer. Remember, we're in Kasese, and when we come back, we'll look at a few cases of land conflicts that were here, but also how come Kasese International Airport was blocked as a result of land.
Kasese district in general it has a size of around 3,200 square kilometers, and about 2/3, around 67% of this land is covered by what I would call government institutions. Now also have lakes and wetlands. They also cover some big part. Now we find that people are actually concentrated in a third of this area. In fact, the challenge has actually been the optimal use of the available land. On the lower side, in the plains, you find the people who own animals and basically pastoralism. Then on the hillsides, just at the base of the Rwenzori Mountains, that's why you find a lot of concentration of the population, because that's why you find crops can actually do well, and most of these people around those places are actually cultivators. You find that a family of around 7 people, 6 to 7 people, that is a household, is surviving on something like half of an acre. In most cases, you find the area is actually very much degraded because of overuse. What should actually be done? One of them is, first of all, sensitizing the masses on optimal use of the lands they have. Because what I do know is that the crude methods people use in utilizing the small pieces of land that they have is actually causing us a lot of problems. The other thing is actually people appreciating the policy of, especially this universal education, where people are encouraged to take their children to school, so that instead of people thinking of depending on soil only, they would rather think of what I would call non-agricultural incomes. Like, for example, engaging in tourism. Since we have many conservation areas around, like national parks, and they can actually engage in activities which can attract some of their products to be bought by people come to visit.
I want to hint, spend a couple of minutes on the land conflict that was here. What happened?
The problem that we have here, which brought conflict, was to give a pastoralist 3 quarters, then you say the cultivator 1 acre. 1 acre. It was not fair in reality, because those are they need food, and when you say the pastoralist, he can also do some work like a realization. That's the way in you see here my paddocks, like a cover they do. Someone having more than 10 cows, but he's having a paddock there. But these people, they are giving them 3 acres. How do you give 3
one person?
1 person, and then you say the whole of this land is for this one.
I think the major cause of the land conflicts is historical. It arose from a historical factor.
Yes.
The land was gazetted in the 1950s, especially this one owned by Queen National Park. It belonged to a certain community. The people were not consulted by the colonialists. It was just declared. And the people who originally owned that, who are the Wasongora community, were forced to scatter in different areas. Now, as land squeezed and with the increase of population,
yes,
now there was a lot of pressure on land. The Songora community had to cross to Congo, and when the Congo government didn't need them anymore, they were forced to come back. But now that their land had been degazetted into a national park, when they came back, the population did not allow these people to stay in the national park, and therefore they had to demand from government for a resettlement in the form of a compensation. And so when they were being compensated, the land that had been occupied by the non-cattle keepers was therefore given to the cattle keepers. Was given in favor of cattle keepers. So the 1 to 3 policy was a way of rewarding or compensating the cattle keepers. But the mistake they did was that when they were even evicting these people, they made it a forceful eviction. There are some people who had even acquired titles in some of this land, like Bigando. It had been given to the farmers.
Ettaka lye Kasese bannange ddene naye ekizibu ekiriwo abantu abasinga ekizibu kye bayina paaka eyo paaka erirya n'erimalawo eriridde n'erimalawo
ne paaka ebaddewo for a very long time.
paaka ebaddewo era omuntu wagezaako okulima awantu n'agamba nti alimewo abapaaka bajja ne bamugamba nedda wano si wuwo ate babongere n'ate mu bantu okiraba yensonga lwaki Kasese efunda olwa paaka eyo. So omuntu senga asobola senga basalako paaka ne bagiwako ekitundu kyayo n'abantu ne bagamba nti nno babawako ekitundu paaka ne balima giwa nnyo ekitundu kimalayo Kasese era n'essaawa zino we tuli mu paaka akuba goyinza okwata kimanyi yensonga lwaki Kasese efunda olwa paaka kyembategeezako okwogera.
Okwongezako ekyo ekyomusajja mukwano gwange kyayogedde ekintu kyettaka okubeera nga kifuuse issue mu Kasese. Emu eri ku nsonga ebyobulimi, poor methods of farming. Abantu abali ku nsozi bajjajja baffe bamaama baffe ogenda n'omulaba nga ye bamugamba nti olina okukozesa methods zino oba olima ku nsozi naye ye n'atakola kinaatakiteeka mu nkola. Kati ogenda olaba ettaka eddungi enkuba bw'etonya likkerera kati ensozi ne zisigala nga ziri beya. Ekyo kye kiviirako abantu gamba bali mu nsozi ne bagamba atukirire tukole ki tunoonye ku ttaka eriri wansi okutuuka wansi gavumenti egamba wano temulinaawo ki part.
Do you know any people who are compensated and they left their land and government
was it
took
forceful
over,
flood?
or they brought other people to occupy the land? Yes.
Yes. And there are two areas of land conflict, basically, as we were talking. You talked of the international airport. The people who were staying in that particular area where the international airport is supposed to be constructed were not fairly compensated. Government is saying the value was from Endebe, but the valuing system, the locals didn't understand it.
Why would you blame government for sending a valuer and the person values the land? Because that's the system all over the whole world.
No, sending a valuer is not a problem, but localizing the valuation exercise to the understanding of a common person is the major issue.
I thought valuation is valuation. I can't look at your land and say, your land is about 5 million shillings.
No.
Let me give you 5 million.
But you need to first of all tell me what you consider when you're valuing my land.
But I think the problem was equal distribution. Because, for example, this is a farmer who had his 3 acres. But this person comes from Congo, and this person is given the 2 acres to one. This one is a farmer, already cotton was there, maize was there. Now this pastoralist came. Now these people say, now this one is a cattle keeper. Can you please take these 2 acres? The equal distribution of the land was the problem.
Yes, you answer.
You know, like in Karusanda, right? There's a place called Karusanda here. People are fighting
Up to now.
day in, day out. They are fighting every day. Farmers are fighting with the cattle keepers. I think the only problem we have here in Kasese is that we are not living in harmony like we used to live. Me, I used to appreciate Kasese as a place which accommodates abantu abosi, abantu bakuruga Mbarara, abantu bakuruga Kampala, bakuruga Kabale, bakuruga Hoima. I appreciate Kasese.
Yeah.
Kasese as a place which accommodates people.
Right.
I always call upon these other people, appreciate these people. They have, we have lived with them. They are our relatives, now they are our friends. We need to live with them in harmony.
In all the process, government was substantially in error. And as a result, even some of this land that was allocated to the cattle keepers has been returned back to the cultivators by a court order. Though the execution has failed, police has refused to the execution, but the High Court has ordered, for example, the land in Rehingo was already returned back to the cultivators. There's another one which is soon coming.
So they receive it back theoretically, but it doesn't happen.
They
court orders.
They purportedly gave it to the cattle keepers. Court ordered that the land should be returned to cultivators. Now police comes in when the cultivators want to go back to the land. Police comes and blocks the cultivators when they even have a High Court order, which has not been appealed against.
As I close this, there's obviously massive climate change. A gentleman called Xavier Baruku, who is a farmer on the slopes of Mountain Range Zone, realized that climate change had started taking away part of his income. And this gentleman earns money from growing coffee than any other crop. But he fears that it's not going to last. And this is what he says after sometimes say, what has served us is the rising price of coffee in the last 2 years. We have been selling less coffee but earning more than the previous years. Warm conditions have reached areas that used to be cold for the mosquitoes to breed. Climate change is affecting you a lot. What are farmers doing here to all the prolonged droughts that you have? What are farmers doing here to cope up with that?
One of the things, or one of the alternatives being undertaken by some cultivators is what she said. Now the
kitchen,
non-government organizations like Caritas are coming in to teach people the affordable systems of cultivation or farming, where somebody can spend less and at least get something to eat. So basically, the poor cultivators cannot easily manage to cope up with the effects of climatic change.
When you look at issues of climate change in Kasese, these are human activities that actually affect, leading to this. One, what as mentioned, we are blessed with natural resources, but there is a lot of pressure from us, the people in Kasese, degrading these natural resources. which is actually affecting now, which is leading to climate change.
And now we have a king here called Mumbere, as you have said. He has tried to put in a campaign people to plant some trees around the Vivanja and whatever,
Right.
so that they can make Kasese